Hello there. Well, I come across this Joe Rogan podcast thing that had a guy on there talking about depression and anxiety. And he pointed out something interesting. It's like everyone's aware of that we have natural physical needs. We need water, we need clean air, we need food, etc., etc. We don't get these things, we immediately feel distress. But he says not everyone's aware that we have natural psychological needs, some of which are the need to belong, the need for meaning and purpose, the need to feel that people see you and value you, and you have to feel a certain amount of autonomy or power over your situation or over your life. And you need to feel like you have a future that makes sense. And he goes on to further point out that our culture nowadays is less good at helping people meet these deep underlying psychological needs that we all have. Um, of course, I just read that psychology book, so it's like, okay, this sounds all very familiar, but a thing that the guy missed, and that most people miss who can wear shirts and whatnot, is that it's a natural physical need to be touched. Our nearest, shall we say, companions on this earth, the great apes, they're all about touching and reaffirmation, you know. And but that's a psychological need, and that's a physical need, and there's an actual physical need to be touched, and it's also a psychological need for reassurance, Like, who hasn't felt like they needed a hug, or had like a bad time of things and they needed a hug. And because I live in this freakish uh, state with this freakish body, with this freakish CRPS disease, it's like I've had to forego that because that condition called allodynia, which can mean that a touch is actually more painful than it is uh, reassuring. It doesn't mean that sometimes I wouldn't like to be lying in bed here with an arm around my shoulder because, I don't have allodynia like across this part of me and I'm touching this part of me. It's just like from here down, I got lots and lots of issues. And there's, of course, lots and lots of reasons um, why people might not want to touch me. I can certainly understand that. But yeah, that's like um, I think it's like a commonly known fact that I don't know how they found this out. God only knows how they found this out. Probably Dr. Mengele found this out. That if you deprive um, babies of physical affection, they die. You know, that's how. That's just how we're wired. Our closest relatives, the chimpanzees, man, they're all about that. I was like, "Hey, Bert, how you doing?" Arm around the shoulder. They get a little bit too personal, But yeah, guys with our homophobia, we get around that with the shake, the handshake, and then the hug, you know, so we can have that space. We can still get that physical affection we need from people of the same sex, but we got that handshake barrier to let you know, that's how deep-seated homophobia can be. But anyways, I found it interesting. I had just talked to my brother. I won't be talking long because I had just talked to my brother like for 55 minutes. Um, I'm half starved because I don't really have any appetite. And anyways, and I told him, I said, I hope you feel appreciated and valued because I just spent $1.25 to talk to you because I'm on the payphone system, um, which I'm trying something different out with the Obama phone, where I got my backup phone for emergencies, but if it runs out, it's going to cost me big dollars to refill the minutes. This other phone gives you 350 minutes free a month, but 350 minutes, of course, doesn't go very far. So my experiment this month to try to figure out why it was screwing me over last month and trying to make me pay 3 times for unlimited minutes was like this time I did not wait for it to run out of minutes. I just paid $5 and got 250 extra minutes. And I'll wait until I have like 5 minutes left, then I'll just buy another 5 minutes. It's a lot cheaper than paying $15 and $20 for unlimited minutes that aren't unlimited. But anyways, um, yeah, I slept like a rock. I woke up early. Um, I did some positive things today, which is good. Which I did not do any physical activity as far as like getting this place ready for Friday. I come up with an idea where I could leave. I figured this out by accident in the last video I made, where I can leave this the camera on. I don't know if these guys will be savvy enough to pick up on it or not, but I don't care. They could be like, "Why are you filming us?" And I was like, "Something to do." And I thought it might be interesting to watch back later. But I figured out that I can get the camera to work, but to fill up the screen with nothing but a white blank space with the task manager. I was like, well, when they come on Friday, I can show everybody what the landlord looks like, and maybe people can watch part of them ripping up the ceiling, you know, and maybe even watch me interact with them, and I don't know, be something to do. Depends how I feel Friday. Right now, I'm hungry and I don't want to eat, which is like a horrible sign as far as depression. Um, the place that I'm checking out, it actually has 3 different buildings to it. And the one building, because it's the internet, you can look inside the apartments. I'm like, whoa, I don't need apartments this nice, but it's building 1 and it houses 250 people. Or it has 250 units in it. The one I'm looking at, that's like a 62 and over or crippled guy community. It only has 67 units in it. And I found a page where it said that the 250 unit building was full up. And that's something I can get my caseworker at Coleman to work on, is to get me into one of those places, because that's like my old neighborhood. I know those roads and I know the area, and it's a nice area, and or at least it was. I mean, but it's right by my brother. Like, it's like a mile away from my brother's house. It's not the projects. Um, it's it the air. I passed by it a million times riding a bicycle past it in my 20s. I thought it was part of Altman Hospital for some reason. I didn't recognize it as apartment buildings, but it's on 11th Street Southwest, and it's like that's the road that I would put my bike in 12th gear and just go flying down that road at 30 plus miles an hour on a bicycle when I was a young man. And that's where I want to move. I mean, if I think I might have to get out of here before I go crazy though and move somewhere else temporarily. I don't know where, but I can't live in this room, just in this room. I can't live with the people in this building and with a landlord that I absolutely despise and that I think is the scum of the earth. And I just don't think I can do it anymore. I don't know if I can last the winter. And then I got the problem with the cat, which is I thought I was going to get out of here like a lot sooner because I figured I was just misled by my psychiatric nurse person that I was going to, get out of here. Because, I mean, he was helping me fill out forms and stuff, and I was like, oh, I better make friends with my cat. Now my cat wants to be an inside cat. And with winter coming on, I think he has enough coat. But now I've kind of like deceived him into thinking like he can stay inside sometimes, and like I hate living with him. I really hate living with him, and it's like, I guess it's a consequence of the benzos that I don't have any patience or any, it just like everything gets on my nerves. Even when, I'm not trying to quit benzos right now. I'm taking 3 10 milligram benzo VALIUM pills a day. I'm not trying to quit them, but I still got that itchiness, you know. And part of that is like I'm in a lot of physical pain all the time. All the time. Part of that is I'm not getting my natural physical and psychological needs met. And part of that is like, the history of the building and what living here has done to me, and not being able to walk and move around and without pain, and not to be able to be. I mean, doing physical stuff just takes so much stress out of you. Being able just to lift weights, just being able to move stuff around your apartment, just being able to clean house. It's like when I was going through the Xanax withdrawal thing, I was like, I was so messed up. All I was doing was staring at a plant, and then I had a day where I'm like, I actually think I can move around today, and do something. And I got up and I did dishes that hadn't been done in 2 weeks, and I was like, God, thought I would enjoy doing dishes so much. Why am I still holding this paper? This paper has served its purpose. And but yeah, I got a place now that I want to live, or that I want to shoot to live. I don't know, not shoot somebody to live there, just a place I want to shoot for to live. I don't, the other building I checked out, I was like, well, this is too good to be true. I mean, look at the prices on this, and there's a lot of different Fifth Street Northwest in Canton. Canton's not the smallest city in the world, so it's like, yeah, okay, I could get I could actually pay for a 2-bedroom house and keep my cat in the bedroom and lock the door, and then just like when he got on my nerves, and then he could have his own litter box in there. He could actually have his own room, And I was like, yeah. I forget what the apartments were called. And then I found out they're right smack dab in the middle of downtown Canton. It's like he would have to be a complete house cat, which he might have to be anyway. But the point is, it's in downtown Canton. It's like it's not anywhere to live. It's not anywhere I want to live. There's no greenery around there. It's dead, dead in the heart of the city. It's like, no. It's actually pretty close. The only advantage of living there is it's pretty close to Coleman Professional Services. Now about Coleman Professional Services, it's like tomorrow I have to arrange transportation for sure to go to my follow-up dentist appointment, which I assume will only be checking out, how I'm healing. But I also um, wanted to get 4 appointments arranged because they ask you got any other appointments you need scheduled. I was like, well, yeah, I could, get my dental appointment scheduled, which I have to do that tomorrow no matter what. And then I made an appointment to see my psychiatric nurse on the 18th, and I'm like, I could get that in there. And then I called a little bit late in the day, too late in the day, I guess. But I called the social worker lady who I actually have something for her to do. It's like, can you help me figure out how to move into this place? Can you get me on a waiting list for this place? I have a place that I want to live. Um, you know, I know the neighborhoods. It's by my brother. Me and my brother's hard to get along with, but well, we're not going to be living together. There'll be somebody, there'll be some family that I kind of get along with, and that's just a mile away. And then the other appointment down the road would be on the 27th, uh, going to a cardiologist, which I started taking the blood thinners again because I can just quit them like a few days before I go to my dental appointment, which I don't expect her to do anything anyway. And it will be like, it won't be bloody stuff anyways. It will be like capping teeth. Or she'll probably just take a look at it and, I'll probably take a look at the way it's healing. I could even be like, I just wanted you to look to see to make sure it was healing, if that's okay, and of course it's okay. They can make more money that way, more appointments. But, yeah, I got kind of anxious when I was looking, at those apartments though, because um, I lived in a really shitty apartment in my 20s. And then when I moved out of there is when everything went to hell. So moving has bad connotations for me, but I really want to move out of here. And it's like, why am I anxious? I got anxious. I got so anxious that like the Valium that I took wasn't enough to knock back the anxiety. I took a blood pressure pill on top of it, which made me sleep for a couple hours, which is why I'm talking to you at 12:44 in the morning. But yeah, this this is a hard life. I mean, getting old is hard. Being old when you're, like I don't really. I remember being strong. I don't ever remember being young. I remember being young in the sense that, like, possibilities. There's possibilities for you. You could do this or you could do that. That's another part of being young. It's like you, like that expression, you have your whole life ahead of you. It's like, this could happen, or there's possibilities, and those possibilities start to narrow down when you get older. And I don't want to be depressing or anything, but that's just the facts. And then when you have health problems, you know, your life becomes narrower and narrower. The possibilities become less and less. But I could still win just by moving out of here, just by getting out of here. And I don't, I've kind of broken the seal, I don't know how you want to say it, with the landlord, so, I can talk to him and not lose my shit completely as long as it's a limited conversation. And so I can stay here for a while if I have to. I'd much rather move out of here and move into some other place temporarily. And I should have enough money to do that. And I don't really plan on taking anything with me out of here except for the barest essential stuff. But the idea of moving and then, me being in the shape I'm in, I'm obviously going to need help doing that. Uh, moving my scooters and two of my scooters and some of my other stuff. But I'm mostly going to leave everything here anyway. So if there is like a waiting list I have to get on, um, if they, if it's part of housing urban development, where I figured out I'm only paying like 34% of my income to live here, and I did the math, wrote it down on this piece of paper over here even, and I'm like, okay, I fit into this bracket here. It's like I only would have to spend 30% of my income to live wherever it is I'm going to live, because of my poverty. But the thing of it is I only pay 34% of my income to live here, not not counting my electric bill, which is the only thing I gotta pay. So it's like it's cheap to live here, but I also, that dog is growing upstairs. There's always going to be noise coming down from upstairs. There's always going to be water coming down from upstairs. There's always going to be the possibility of that literally hanging over my head, and there's always going to be that hostility in this building. And I don't like none of the people that live here or the guy that owns the building, so why am I living here? And I'm stuck in a room because this woman uh, walks like a brontosaurus on crack. So, I mean, that's been going on for a year that I've been. It's amazing that I'm as sane as I am, just living in this cell and then like watching my relationships crumble with various people in my life, and I have so few people. And, it's even to the point where like one of like my best friend, I'm starting to think like, he's 65 years old, and he's got a problem with his eyes. It's like you know, it's very strange being alone in the world. And it's like if I go to like one of these 62 and over communities at the age of 51, I'll be 52 in December. So at the age of 52, um, there'll be other people to meet and other people to talk to. I mean, they have like rec rooms and community areas where people get together, and you know and then if I get tired of old people, which I am an old person myself, I could hop on my scooter and go see my brother. I can even on my scooter I hate, which is my new scooter, and not this thing, which actually has some speed and some power to it. But that thing, it's weird to ride a vehicle where the road can actually steer you. It's like you got to be really careful about that too, because the road can actually steer you. You can be locked on and holding that thing straight, and the road will take you where it will take you with its dips and dives. You actually have to steer to avoid the road taking you to wherever it will take you. I don't know why it's like that. I don't know if all four-wheel vehicles are like that. Like, you know, I mean, by all four-wheelers, I mean like a four-wheeler, like when they talk about those off-road things. And I don't know if, I assume in a car you got the big powerful engine and stuff, so I don't think it works that way in a car. It doesn't work that way on two wheels. I've spent my whole life on two wheels. If the road doesn't steer you places on two wheels, it's very weird. But anyways, I was gonna place a link to that thing about anxiety and depression because the guy had a couple of interesting things to say about it. And like I found that um, anxiety for me anyway is like a lot of it's a product of hopelessness and helplessness. It's like, of course, you're going to feel anxious if you're in a situation where you feel like you can't do anything to help the situation, or if you don't have any hope, or like, how was that phrased on that paper? Let's see if I can do it from memory. It's like feeling that you have my brain's not working. Um, Feeling that you have a future that makes sense. Obviously, you know my life, so you know my life makes no sense. You know my body makes no sense. Now, a future that would make sense for me, what would that possibly be? And that would be like to play out the string to the best of my ability to make it as easy on the few loved ones that I have left, which not too many. Maybe three, maybe four. I don't know. Not too many loved ones I have left. And to give them time to get used to the idea of me not being around. To um, I don't know, just to a future that makes sense for me would be um, to do my best, like I think I always have done my best to be a good person. I mean, even in the case of the wheelchair guy, which I just took that video down where I said that, why I kicked the wheelchair guy to the curb because it was kind of redundant anyway. But he just crossed some lines into my personal life that I can't have him doing that. And it's like you know, I don't want to be like that, but he's not a nice guy. He's not a pleasant guy. He's not somebody I would be friends with if I was not living, 20 feet away from him. Or friends with, what am I saying? He's not somebody I would even interact with, you know. And I, I really did want to help him out, like, and I don't see why he shouldn't have a motorized scooter. And he's kind of like trapped inside, and maybe inside a building. I thought if he had a motorized scooter and he's got a ramp out there, the motorized scooter, he's talking about the wear and tear it was putting on his wrists and hands, and his doctor was yelling at him for it. And you know, maybe I could write him a letter or something like that, or maybe I don't know. I'm gonna be gone, but I just wanted to turn him on to the whole motorized scooter thing. Because if he can get out of a wheelchair with his upper body strength and get into a recliner, these chairs, they're made with handles that lift up, and he can get his wheelchair next to one and hop himself into it, and maybe he's been inside so long that he's afraid. Maybe that's why he's calling me a pussy. Is maybe it was projection. I don't know. But you know, you get maybe he's afraid that, you know, I can walk a little bit at least. He can't really walk at all from what I've seen him a couple of times, you know, take the steps and then go down and sit in the wheelchair once he got down the steps. um, I don't know if that was before the ramp was put out there or not. I'm assuming it was. um, but you know, it's kind of why I knocked on his door. And that one day, like I said, when I heard all that water and went upstairs and was yelling, and the crack was smelt the crack being smoked and stuff, is like I was trying to turn him on to the whole thing, because he had this broken little one over here next to the big one. I don't know if you can see that. He had that broken little one in his house for like a really long time, and he was like, seemed really appreciative of having it and everything. And then he asked people to come and look at it for him. They were just random people that he knew. And then, you know, I was like, well, they didn't come through for him. And then I was like, well, I can get my brother-in-law, who actually went to Stark Tech and is a mechanical guy, to come and look at it. But he's not the same man he was 20 years ago. It's like he's he doesn't seem to be very interested in that kind of thing anymore. But he did like give it a try. He just didn't give it a really super thorough try. But I was thinking maybe I could give the battery to my brother and see if he could like take a Dremel tool and open up the battery case. I think I talked about that before. Since it's made deliberately to screw you out of money, because there's two serial batteries. There's two batteries inside this plastic case, wired serially, but the case itself you can't open. It's just a closed piece of plastic. But you can open it if you have the right tools. It's just plastic. And what's to lose? It doesn't work like it is now. And then we can find out if it'd be worth buying batteries for. And it actually would cost less than $100 to fix, because the case is what costs the money. Like I think I said in another video, the plastic case costs like something ridiculous, like $150 or $170 just for the empty case. It's like they make cases that you can actually open, you know, and then you pay extra to have the batteries put into it. But the batteries cost like 46 or around $50 a piece. So, you know, it's on Amazon. To get the whole new battery pack, it's like $270. I do remember that. I think $275 with Amazon Prime. But we don't 100% sure know it's a battery problem. So, you know, it's like throwing good money after bad. But, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yesterday was rough. Today was rough. I mean, I really couldn't eat today too well, but I tried. You know, like I said, I was going to try to do better. I did try to do better. And I appreciate the dozen or so people that actually hang around for this kind of stuff, that are interested in my story. And, you know, I appreciate y'all. I do. I mean, what can I say? I don't like talking to myself. Um, I like to feel like, what does it say on my piece of paper? What are our psychological needs? I need to be seen and valued, right? So, you make me feel seen and valued. If the people that watch this, it doesn't matter if it's only 10 people or however many people, it wouldn't matter to me if it was just like one person. Um, because I don't have that many people. Like, I don't have that many people in my life, and seem to be losing. Um, what few people I have, I seem to be losing a few here and there. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to be able. I have to get in a strong enough. I gotta take care of myself enough to where I can get in a strong enough place to where I can make up with these people if they're not gonna own up to the truth or own up to reality. I don't know if that one guy is even worth making up with, frankly. But I've known him my whole life, and he is what he is. I mean, if I that was my own self delusion, not recognizing him for what he was. Whereas what happened with my sister just kind of like knocked me for a loop. I had no idea. I had no idea that that was going to happen. I have no idea like why that happened. I mean, I've made guesses, but all that stuff with my foster brother is what I'm saying is I should have seen coming. The stuff with my sister, it just kind of surprised me because, she's had me for support for like 30 years. And once I got screwed up on the benzos, I mean, I'm sure there's times I wasn't the most pleasant guy to be around, but it wasn't like I was a monster. I mean, it wasn't like I was mean to her or short tempered with her or anything like that. So, but yeah, that could be part of a future, a reasonable future to look forward to, or whatever it says on that damn paper. I'm not picking that paper up again. Um, is get these things sorted out. It's like I really can't get involved with those people out over there though, because the issues run so damn deep, and I can't even tell you how deep they run, and I can't even tell you like I know I had that video that was may have seemed sort of vicious, where I went into the actual factual history of how my foster brother became my foster brother. But the issues that are over there, um, that they run deeper than that. So I can't. I have to be at a distance from that. I can't get anywhere near that. I really can't get anywhere near that or anywhere near. I gotta take care of number one and get number one straightened out first. And then, like, if I can get out of here and feel like I'm not living in a madhouse, maybe get something done with my knee where I can walk around and feel safe, and not feel like all that pain, like I'm gonna fall all the time. I can get to that point where I can, you know, um, be the bigger man. That was one of my sister's favorite expressions. Sometimes you have to be the bigger man. Where I can be the bigger man and be like I don't feel like I did anything deserving of the treatment that I got, but maybe they feel that way too. But I thought I was already being the bigger man when I picked up the phone and I tried to reconcile with my sister, when I wrote my sister letters expressing my feelings. When I told her that all I needed from her was an acknowledgement that that's a big deal, that was like, it's not a trivial thing. It's like, I just need you to need the truth. I remember the way the letter went is like, I compared it to the situation with my foster brother, like where he abandoned us, but he admitted that he abandoned us. So I was able to have peaceful interaction with him after that. And it's like, that's all I need is like, I don't need apologies. I just need us to be on the same page and to acknowledge the truth. Now, since then, of course, my foster brother dealt me a bunch of dirt since then. But at the time when, that happened now, going on 2 years ago with my sister. So, and I'm going to address a specific person here I haven't heard from, Betty B. If you watched the hidden therapy tape, that was actually made before the thing happened with my sister. So I was still cool with my sister when that was made. I just started going to therapy, and she suggested something about writing down some of my life story or whatever. And I'm like, damn woman, I'm 50 years old. I think at the time I was 49 years old. I was like, that's too much. I'm like, she's, we'll just write down something. And I was like, well, talking's a lot easier than writing, so why don't I just make her a video? So I made that video, and then I gave that video to somebody that I trusted, who I shouldn't have trusted, and now it's just floating around in space. All this sensitive information. Just imagine what that would feel like from your point of view if, like, all your dirty laundry was just floating around on a disk somewhere. So I was like, I might as well just put it on the internet myself and get out in front of it. I don't know who has that or why they're holding on to it. I have some ideas and some suspicions about it. I know a lot of people that are not right up here and that like had horrific upbringings, and like it's like it might be a thing of power for them to have that, you know. And I actually wrote them an email saying, pointing out that trying to take that power away, just in case that was the scenario that this got out on, that she's actually holding on to it. Which, frankly, it just could be lost and thrown in the garbage somewhere. It could be in a landfill somewhere for all I know. But just in case, I wrote her a thing that said, yeah, I never could find that one disc, so I just put it on the internet myself. Because I figured that way I could get out in front of it. And it's like, if it's going to be out there floating in space and I don't know where it's at, why not put it on the internet, you know? So, yeah. Um, but yeah, that names and stuff, because that was supposed to be like, they got, what do you call it? Client um, confidentiality. So I name names and stuff in there. And, yeah, I know a couple people saw it, I know. It's got like 30 views on it or 31 views on it. Just probably random people like saying, "Oh, this is boring," because I deliberately mislabeled it. I'm not going to tell you, of course, what the title is to it, but I deliberately mislabeled it, just and made up a story about how I found it and stuff. Just just to make it hidden, just to hide it on the internet somewhere. But anybody that stumbles across it, they can see it's me. I mean, I'm in a darkened room. I just don't even pay attention to the lighting or anything like that. But you can see it's me. And yeah, but um, yeah. I'll tell you, they say that silent waters run deep. Well, let me tell you something. This babbling brook of a man before you, those waters run pretty deep too. There's whirlpools underneath there too, and there's an undertow. You know, um, yeah. Alrighty, I just wanted to share that with you, that Joe Rogan thing, and waste 45 more minutes of your precious life. Um, and yeah, like I said, I do appreciate whoever listens to this. I do appreciate being seen and heard. And if you actually watch these things, I guess I feel valued. You know, I'm not one of them like horror guys that like I gotta check my likes and see how many likes and how many dislikes I have. You know, or whatever. I just look at the views, and there's no telling how long people hang in there with me or how long it is before I become boring and tiresome. And I know, like, a lot of times I'm redundant. It seems necessary to me to be redundant about certain things, but um, yeah, like I said, I do have at least a plan for the future now. A, a place I want to live. You know, I can talk to somebody about it, whose job it is, who's a caseworker, whose job it is to actually help people move. So that's a good thing, right? That happened today. Now, if I only had something, I got a couple of yogurts I can eat. I found some yogurts. I'm like, oh, I hope these aren't expired, and they weren't. And I was like, I could eat a couple of yogurts even, maybe try to sleep, and for heaven's sakes, leave you in peace. Here I am thanking you and thanking you while I continue to waste your time and take away those grains out of your hourglass. Terrible, terrible at that, man. I'm such a sand thief. It's ridiculous. Uh, yeah, that ending was horrible. A sand thief, whatever. But at least, I'm not rubbing my head. And you know, it's a day-to-day fight. What can I tell you, man? It's what life is when you got a lot of problems. It's a day-to-day fight. And today, I both lost and won. So today I tried. Anytime you try, that's a win. Anytime you try, that's a win. And if I can get some rest, and you think I would be able to get rest? I took a codeine pill and the VALIUM pill. I didn't expect my brother to call me back, but he called me back late. That's why I'm talking to you, basically. Um, so I can always blame it on him. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, maybe I'm serving a function I don't even realize I'm serving. Just watching somebody that continues to fight and struggle and try, and who's not. I'm not afraid to um, tell you that I'm in despair. That you know, I'm not a manly man. I'm not like I don't believe in that stuff. I believe that it takes way more bravery to face your emotions, to face life, to face your situation than it does to keep things bottled up inside and to, express yourself in other ways, which I've done in the past. It's much, it's much harder to feel than it is not to feel. It's much harder to um, experience those emotions than to deaden them. And as far as I can tell, if this is my emotions deadened with 10 milligrams of Valium, I don't even want to know what my emotions are like if if they're not deadened with 10 milligrams of Valium. But if I'm living in a place, where I'm not surrounded by hostility, bad memories, I'm not trapped in a dilapidated room, and I can walk and I can do things for myself, and I can just have a little bit of my old life back from like 5 years ago. The need for that, uh, those little 10 milligram blue pills, man, I don't see them hanging around. You know, it's just like it's right now. It just doesn't make any sense for me to quit those things. And I've had people tell me, you should just stay on those. You got a bad disease, and it's like now it's kind of like um, when those meth heads threatened my life. Now it's personal. It's personal. Getting off benzos now is a personal thing. I've been on them a long time. I fought for what had to be a year, at least a year, of going through the ups and downs of withdrawal, before I was like, I can't do this. I mean, boy, my stomach's saying all kind of things. I don't know how long. I'd have to check my records. How long? I know that I started withdrawing involuntarily in March of 2018, and I know March of 2019 is long gone, but um, I yeah, I think I was trying to quit for. I, I'm. I'll have to look that up on my chart to tell you exactly. I'll write it down maybe in the description part, like when it is. I was like, I stopped keeping track. I was like, I just stopped keeping track, and I'm like, this isn't happening. It's not gonna happen here. I mean, just bad, more bad stuff and more bad stuff just keeps happening here, and it's I had people tell me like, well, bad stuff's gonna happen to you anywhere. It's like I don't think meth trades are gonna open up if I get into a 62 or over retirement community. I don't think I'm gonna have to be dealing with threatening people with machetes and 22-year-old tatted up guys carrying in book bags, making drug deals, and um, you know, 30-year-old war vets that are, I think it's going to be a different situation. So I don't think it's a matter of like, people are like, oh, problems are going to follow you wherever you go. Or like one guy just outright said, you're just making excuses. If you want to take benzos, just take benzos. But it's personal now. It's like I want to get off of those things now for personal reasons. Uh, Even if it's just some volume or whatever like that. I want my old patience back. I want to be patient. I don't want to have the cat walk in front of my feet and just want to kick him. I don't want to like listen to my brother on the phone and be like, can you go somewhere with this? You don't have to tell me the whole movie. Like, why don't you he was talking to me about this Iranian movie he saw, and it's like, why don't you just tell me the name? I want to say, why don't you just tell me the name of the movie and I can watch the movie? It's like I'm paying, you're using up my minutes. I've got to pay for minutes. It's like you're telling me the whole damn movie. Or I can like go on the internet and read the synopsis. But the joy for him is, self-expression. I know you know, that's bringing him pleasure telling me every scene in this movie. So it's really not what it's about. So, anyways, I should have left it at the train wreck ending about like I'm stealing another grain of sand out of your hourglass because now I just took 10 more. Bye.